Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Ironworker Gaming channel. I am Ironworker814 and thank you for joining me for yet another Destiny 2 PvP viewer requested weapon review, where we take a look at pros, cons, stats, damage numbers, and how to obtain the weapon. This weapon review was requested by Palpito, and the weapon we're taking a look at today is the Machina Dei 4. So if at any point during this video you find it helpful, useful, or just downright enjoyable, feel free to give that thumbs up button a click. And if this happens to be your first visit here, feel free to hit the subscribe button to join the awesome community that is growing around this channel. But the Machina Dei, I forgive you if you have no idea what weapon I'm talking about, because this has been in the dark recesses of my vault for a long time. But if you were playing Destiny 2 in year 1, you probably have it, or at least had it at some point. This is a prophecy weapon. Not from the prophecy dungeon. The prophecy weapon's from arguably the worst content drop in the history of Destiny, Curse of Osiris, where we found ourselves mindlessly grinding activities and farming planetary materials. Also, we could give them to this weirdo, and he would give us what would turn out to be a generally lackluster gun. But honestly, I used Machina a good bit during that DLC, not because it was overwhelmingly powerful or anything like that, it just looked cool and felt different to me. But I'm sure you probably know by now that high impact pulse rifles got a nice buff recently in the Crucible, making them generally more user friendly and giving Guardians a reason to pick them up and give them a try. So we'll check out if Machina Dei can hang in the Crucible here in Season of Arrivals, right after we take a look at how to obtain this weapon for those who have not done so already. Alright, just a quick heads up, Mercury is being removed as a playable destination when Beyond Light launches in November of 2020, so this information is all subject to change. First thing you're going to need to do is finish the Curse of Osiris main campaign, and then complete all 4 of the adventures on Mercury. After that, visit Brother Vance and he should have a Lost Prophecy tablet for you, which will allow you to forge a weapon. You'll need to collect Advanced Paradox Amplifiers or Concentrated Radiolarian Clusters based on the Prophecy weapon's requirement for completion. There are 11 of these Lost Prophecy weapons in total. The verse you are looking for is verse 4. Once you have completed verse 4, head to the forging table near Brother Vance, and it'll spit you out the Machina Dei 4. The Machina Dei 4 is a kinetic, legendary, high-impact pulse rifle shooting at 340 rounds per minute with 30 rounds in the magazine at base. The stats are generally average when compared against other high-impact pulse rifles. And heading over to light.gg for the hidden stats, we can see we have an aim assist value of 35, a recoil of 70, and a bounce intensity of 30, which will cause this weapon to pull to the left. Since this is a non-updated year 1 weapon, there is only one perk on it, that being Ambitious Assassin, where it overflows the magazine based on the number of rapid kills before reloading. We do have 3 barrel and 3 magazine options though that you can mix and match as you see fit. First, for the barrels, we have the choice of Extended Barrel, Chambered Compensator, or Fluted Barrel. And for the magazine selection, we have high caliber rounds, Appended Mag, or Tactical Mag. And intrinsically, high impact pulse rifles are more accurate when stationary and aiming down sights. And for the damage numbers, Machina Dei will do 36 points of damage on a critical hit and 22 points of damage to the body, giving us an optimal time to kill of 0.67 seconds, requiring 5 crits and 1 body shot, and a body shot time to kill of 1.4 seconds, requiring 9 shots landed. As for the range on Machina Dei, you can reach out to up to 40 meters without seeing damage fall off, as long as your magazine and barrel selection optimize the range. But with that being said, let's hit into the pros and see what Machina Dei does well in PvP. First off, the recent buff to high-impact pulse rifles did Machina Dei and all of the other weapons in this archetype a world of good. Previously, these weapons were doing 34 and 21 respectively, and while the buff did not increase the optimal time to kill, it did increase the overall damage output and allow for the 5 crit and 1 body bullet combination instead of the previous 6 crits. This might not seem like much, but in a Crucible match, it definitely makes a difference. When using a pulse rifle at its max rate of fire, successive bursts will have some recoil carryover. And once a target takes damage in the Crucible, they're generally going to be on the move. The added forgiveness really helps out in both of these situations, and passively increases the weapon's lethality. Next, having a range up to 40 meters is pretty solid. This lets Machina Dei perform very well in open areas of the Crucible map, letting you safely engage with targets without putting yourself in immediate danger. Also, Machina Dei does come packing high caliber rounds, which may make you more effective in dealing with Guardians who also have a long range weapon equipped, since landing shots will add a little bit of additional flinch, which will hopefully carry your enemy's shot off target. On top of that, if you're picking this weapon up in Season of Arrivals, you can take advantage of some pretty strong artifact mods that you can slot for next to nothing. We have Enhanced Pulse Rifle Loader and Enhanced Scattering Projectile Targeting. Both only cost 1 energy to slot, and both make a noticeable difference. Plus, Machina Dei and other high-impact pulse rifles do fit a passive playstyle very well. If you're like me and prefer to slow things down in PvP a little bit, and really play lanes and angles while keeping the action in front of you, high-impact pulse rifles can be a great option. You have an extremely competitive time to kill at extended ranges, so you can allow yourself time to think and room to operate without feeling like you're too far removed from the action to be effective. And lastly, this isn't really a weapon archetype that requires a great deal of skill to wield. I know some players shy away from precision weapons because they feel like they're just not good enough to be effective with them. And high impact pulse rifles are generally lumped into the precision weapon category. But I don't think it necessarily has to be. Now don't get me wrong, precision is definitely rewarded, but you still have the ability to put a lot of bullets down range. Remember that we are shooting at 340 rounds per minute, which is slow for a pulse rifle, but it's relatively quick for other weapons that perform at extended ranges, like snipers, scout rifles, or bows. And I've always suggested to low skill players that even if you can't outright down your targets, get shots on them, help your teammates out, make their life a little easier, and do your best to stay alive. I feel like high impact pulse rifles do a very good job at helping you achieve all of those 3 things. But Machina Dei does come packing a handful of cons, so let's take a look at those now. The first and most obvious con is the fact that Machina Dei is a non-updated year 1 weapon with a static roll. So what you see is what you get. And what you get ain't a whole lot. The weapon's single perk is Ambitious Assassin, so for each kill you get in PvP before reloading, you will gain an additional 3 rounds in the magazine. Which, yeah, is pretty underwhelming. Next, Machina Dei and the high impact pulse rifles do have that poor body shot time to kill value of 1.4 seconds. This is the trade-off for having that great optimal time to kill at extended ranges, but it is something that needs to be mentioned nevertheless. Also, you're pretty much relegated to using this weapon from mid to long range. Due to the intrinsic nature of the weapon, it can be very difficult to use up close. So for you highly aggressive players with an on-the-move and in-your-face playstyle, high-impact pulse rifles are probably not going to be a great option. Plus, while I wouldn't consider Machina Dei a high-skill weapon, the archetype itself can take a little bit of getting used to. The relatively low handling, reload, aim assist, and rate of fire can make this weapon feel a little bit on the clunky side, which requires a very specific playstyle and mindset if you're going to use Machina Dei to its maximum potential. And lastly, I want to say I did have some pretty solid rounds when live testing Machina. I wasn't really slaying out by any means, but I hung in the high 20s in defeats and kept my efficiency rating above 2.5, if not better. But this was due to the archetype, not the gun. Without random rolls or any Crucible preferred perks, Machina Dei is just about as bare bones as you can get. It simply feels like a baseline high impact pulse rifle and nothing more. So would I recommend using Machina Dei 4 if you're taking things semi-serious in the Crucible? No. This is just because there are better options out there, especially here in Season of Arrivals, since you have access to numerous fantastic rolls on the Cold Denial. I mean, you can pretty much just keep endlessly burning through your Umbral Ingrams until you find a roll of the Cold Denial that you're happy with. So I just cannot recommend using a year 1 static rolled weapon with a single perk on it that is not really Crucible viable over a different weapon. Machina Dei just feels like a relic from the past, and that's because it is. And unless this Lost Prophecy weapon is brought forward at some point, a relic it will remain. So, since you made it to this point in the video, how about hitting that like button to show it a little bit of support, and consider subscribing to the Ironworker Gaming channel if you'd like to see more Destiny 2 reviews, guides, and discussions similar to this one. If you'd like to catch me live, you can head over to Twitch, look for Ironworker814, give me a follow, and you'll get notified whenever I hop on. You can also follow me on Twitter, at Ironworker814, but the best way to contact me is simply to comment down below. I read and respond to all my comments because I respect your time and I truly enjoy interacting with you. And with all that being said, I'd like to thank you for spending a piece of your day checking out this weapon review. You guys are awesome, and I will catch you on the next one.